Well. Look what the cat dragged in. Back to ruin another season, are we? Kyoto. It's directed by the same guy as season 1. Oof. I've been doing my best detective work to prove that Naoshi, the first season's director, is in fact not working on this, or that he suddenly had a stroke. Maybe the writers are different, who knows, but Psycho Pass Season 3 is Baby's first intellectual anime. It masquerades as a well thought out and thought-provoking show following in the footsteps of the great, the almighty Psycho Pass Season 1! My first problem arises with our new underlings for our new investigators. Their names aren't really important because I don't remember them, so we just refer to them as Delinquent and Old Man. It's revealed on their first mission together that they're scheming against the two investigators, maybe because they don't trust them, maybe they're hard to work with, or they don't take their job very seriously, who knows? You know, this is like our first seeing them. So I looked at it as the first character to find a moment for these two characters, and their big plan was to cause a ruckus in one of the immigration processing zones, forcibly clouding the immigrant psychopaths to the point where the Dominators would work against them. Now, not sure if they wanted to kill the immigrants or just cause a panic, but at the very least start some problems for the baby investigator. He quickly settles the matter and threatens to punish them if they act on their own again. They don't seem bothered, they don't try to do anything again after this, despite being given many opportunities to screw them over. So what was the point of this scene, I ask you? What was the point? Psycho Pass? If it was to show that these two characters aren't quick to trust someone or give away their loyalty, then it fails, because despite not being punished for it, they never attempt to mess with the investigators again. They completely obey their orders, or helping out with missions by sharing their knowledge of the city and even putting their lives on the line in fights. So maybe they're not the hard to work with latent criminals that first scene might have had you think. Maybe they're just a bunch of idiots who like to create problems for fun. Nothing to do with the investigators, but who could pass up an opportunity to murder some immigrants? I mean, I don't know if I could. But again, as I said, at every other opportunity they had to create chaos, they don't. So, yeah. When investigators break into homes for the few situations, they follow all the orders, they don't use lethal force, and they stand by to let the investigators do their job. So what was the point, I ask? Why? I've been waiting for this to pay off in some way, waiting for them to fuck something up, because that first thing meant something, right? There was a purpose to that, right? Again, only 2 episodes in, but it seems like this was really just to create some tension for the first episode and some excitement for the viewers, and it otherwise had no effect on the story. Which is dumb. I don't want dumb things in my Psycho Pass or really any good show. I appreciate consistent character writing. I like when things are done intentionally with reason. And not only that, but actually talking about the investigators themselves to better illustrate the decline in writing. One of the investigators literally has magic. Now the show tries to explain it as he is able to collect all the data and perspectives he needs to simulate in his mind what is happening. And what that is supposed to mean is by taking in someone's motives and all the factors surrounding their situation into account, he can make claims like, oh, James grabbed the knife from the kitchen counter before walking upstairs and brutally murdering his friend, and then also took a piss and had some nachos, in that order. How it actually plays out in the show is it's an exact play-by-play of everything that happened so that the characters can move the plot along. It's not clever, there's no real deduction or thinking involved, no intelligence. The kid investigator just walks into a room, looks at a couple plants and and I'm using quotes here, guessing people's fucking passwords and then solving trigonometry because he figured out what the guy who he's pretending to be in the body of would have set the answer for. Yes, that is how this works. That is what is happening in my Psycho Pass. And not to mention, as soon as the new investigators show up, they've already stumbled across corruption in the departments, like instantly. First day on the job, and you're already exposing your higher-ups. And you know, the first thing I do when I find out that the job I just got hired for is it's fucking corrupt, is I go and tell my boss immediately. And I know what you're saying. Well, Dark Fang, you gotta tell someone, don't you? Fair enough. You have to at least tell someone to get to the bottom of the corruption on day one. But how about telling the 2 delinquent, latent criminal investigators who you've known for maybe 2 hours, and on your first mission, they tried to kill immigrants? Yeah, the first people I'm sharing this information with, those 2 people. Like, had it never crossed their minds that these 2 shady hooligans might also be a part of the problem? Maybe, I don't know, almost killing immigrants? And the director herself, she is worthless. She plays the hardened leader who tries to keep her troublemakers in line, but every time she tells them not to do something, they give her the finger, and they do it anyway, and they suffer no consequences. She genuinely serves no purpose than to just explain things and have things explained too, probably for the audience. Just save us some time and not include her in the show. She drags it down so much when she's on screen. I told you not to do that, but you did it anyway, which is okay, but don't do it again bit is really tiring. It's really tiring. Like, maybe these sound like nitpicks, but I actually think about these problems while watching the show, and it starts to add up. Things don't seem to follow a logical train of thought. Like, season 3's gimmick is that you can commit crimes as long as you're not aware of the crime, or if you don't have enough information about it, which is actually a pretty cool idea. I could be, say, delivering drugs to some important people, and as long as I don't know what's in the box, my psychopaths won't get worse. Makes sense. But someone has to know that I'm delivering drugs, right? Otherwise, how did I get the box of drugs? See, in the show, this plays out in two ways. When the two gay guys have a falling out, and with the whole murder case. See, he killed his boyfriend, but as he was sending him away, he said, they'll take care of you, or I think he said they'll make you disappear, or one of those. So I can suspend my disbelief and convince myself that he genuinely thought that this place that he was sending his assumed boyfriend to, was this a place that corrupt rich people went to get off the grid, lay low for a bit. So that's why his psychopath wasn't clouded. He just, sent him away. He didn't know he was going to get butchered. No, didn't know. It happens. We all make mistakes. So yeah, I can buy that. But the whole murder, which is the jumping point for the show itself states that someone has to know about the murder to have orchestrated the murder. So how do they not have their psychopaths clouded? Well, the answer is because they gave the victim a choice. See, we jigsawed this bitch, okay? Let me lay down for you. See, because I put you in a situation where you would either die or the stress would cause your psychopaths to raise, resulting in enforcement from investigators, and the investigators likely would have killed you, I let you choose what would happen, and thus I did not kill you. And this right here, my friends, this is some galaxy brain logic. This reasoning transcends our understanding of the universe. Truly some fucking 4D chess being played here, my guys. So you're telling me, if, just for example, if I trap someone in a burning house, and the safest thing for them to do would be to just remain in their room and risk suffocating while waiting for the firefighters, and if they try to escape, they would have died. So let's just say that I know the fire team would have got there in 10 minutes, and let's just say that I knew that the room they were staying in would have allowed them to wait the 10 minutes out until the firefighters got there. So their choices are leave and die, or have their psychopaths clouded from almost suffocating to death. And because that they have a choice in how they choose to die, my psychopaths won't get clouded. Alright, and in a series where just witnessing violence is enough to raise your psychopaths, that does not count. Not only does it not count, but seeing on the news that that person did in fact die because of me wouldn't raise my psychopaths. I mean, really, like I said, I don't feel like the writing is there, and I don't know what happened or why, but oh, breaking news. Episode 3 just dropped, and holy shit, that guy just crushed a dude's skull with his foot. I am absolutely speechless. Like, that is a thing that happened. Did I mention the fight scenes are pretty bad? And that every episode has this like cool fight scene because the show isn't able to actually set up interesting scenes on its own. So it plays some music and it has like a chase sequence or something that probably looks bad. Like, you can watch yourself and pick out the cool moments. But like in the original Psychopaths, it did have fights, sure, but it was more than that. It was character defining moments. These scenes push these characters' beliefs and willpower to the extreme just to see how far they would go, just to see what it would take to make them crack. In Psychopaths 3, nothing set up, no characters are developed from any of this, and while it is in service to the larger plot of Bifrost, well, whatever they're called, and their nefarious deeds trying to figure out what they're all doing, I know so little about Bifrost that I really don't care. I need more information on something before I get invested. And the fact that there is something isn't enough for me to care, especially since I know nothing about these characters. Not to mention, it was already established that this takes place years after season 1 and Sybil already established world peace in Japan, and yet we still have zones and cities where dominators don't work, and Sybil's scanners can't reach them, which is pretty convenient. I mean, how else are you supposed to talk to the bad guys and get information? Can't do that if they would have had their brains blown out months ago. And the show tries to say that Sybil is allowing these danger zones as a mental health break. you know, really changed your mind on murdering everyone, huh, Sybil? You know, people change. Now you just let the criminals have their own city because surely that leads to improved mental. I see. It doesn't. Maybe all of this is just too high Q for me. You know, even though I watched Rick and Morty, which you already know requires a massive IQ to understand, it's clearly not high enough.